Okay, that became such a beast because I have never had anyone ever comment about not being able to see my face. And I got the most comments ever from sharing that photo. I think my social media, the people who follow me are used to it, so they know it's me. And like everyone else was like, "You can't see her face." I was like, no one ever sees my face. Hi guys, it's me.
I
Do I
know.
need to
We're so
cover half my
excited.
face so you can see that it's me? I think people are going to be surprised at um, how much sense it makes once they hear it. I think they're going to have a lot of moments like, yeah, yeah. Why didn't I just think of that? Because I think that that's the biggest thing when people ask me a lot about it. So, hi guys. For those of you guys who don't know, I've been in one of Alana's coach test groups since Thanksgiving. They started us 3 days before Thanksgiving, which was super mean, and we've been in it since then. But one of the things that she says over and over again is these little like Alana isms, and one of them is it simple, sensible, and sustainable. And anytime people would ask Alana, like, what about, this random fad diet, or what about this random fad diet, she would just comment, not simple, not sustainable, not sensible, like every time. And she'd be like, I can give you more if you want, but like that's the quick answer. And so I think people will be surprised to find out how simple, sensible, and sustainable it is, because that was my biggest surprise. I was expecting it to be like some sort of magical thing, and I was like, oh, all of this makes total sense. This is all like things we should all know to do, but we just for some reason can't put the puzzle pieces together on our own. Yeah. Okay. So I have been on my wellness journey for, oh goodness, like 4.5 years. When I first started, um, I was like a year postpartum with my son, and I had a really hard postpartum recovery period with him. So he was a year, but I was still stuck like in like all the new mom muck. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's. I don't know if any of your people have autoimmune issues or PCOS, but they can feel my pain on how frustrating that kind of thing is. And I was trying to navigate like a postpartum body that I didn't feel like I recognized or understood. Now an autoimmune issue making my body even harder to understand, like all of this stuff. And that was when I found Beachbody and started using their tools and community, and I got traction within my first month, and it was so exciting for me. And my first year and a half, I lost 70 pounds, but by like sheer determination. Because Beachbody's tools are incredible, right? But like we're still the ones that have to show up every day and do stuff. And I did, and it was by sheer determination. And I say that because it was by will. Like I powered my way through it, but it wasn't because anything like changed like in my head or my heart. I still had a horrible relationship to food. I still had issues with the scale. I still had a ton of negative self-doubt. Like I was really wrapped up in that kind of stuff. So yeah, I lost the weight, but like I didn't really learn how to get underneath the problem to fix like the root of the problem. Like I did the workouts every day, but it was almost like a band-aid because I hadn't fixed the problems underneath. So I lost those 70 pounds. That was like my first year and a half, 2 years. And then for the last 2 years, I have gained and lost the same 15 to 20 pounds over and over and over and over and over again. Basically, every time Beachbody would release a new program, I would gain and lose the same weight. And figure out like, why am I doing this? Like, why can I not just be a grown up who like eats healthy and can like maintain? I had a lot of trouble with emotional eating and like secret snacking. I have a history with binge eating, but that wasn't even really one of my biggest. It was more secret snacking. Like I would like get a milkshake on the way home, like when my husband and my kids weren't in the car, because I would feel like I deserved it because I had a really stressful day or whatever. And like since it was private, it like didn't count. And I would deal with those kind of things, or like steal my kids like Halloween candy after he was in bed, or just those little things that self sabotage and add up. So when I was invited to be in the test group, I jumped on it because I had heard Alana's story and I resonated a lot with her struggles of kind of always dealing with it. Like ever since I was a kid, I feel like I've been dealing with issues with my weight since I was like a teenager. I feel like I've been on a diet since I was like 15, and I was just over it. I was like, if this girl could do it, like I want to learn what she did, and I'm gonna do it too. Like I'll just follow whatever she says, and it was challenging for me because 2B mindset is not a plan where you're just going to get a meal plan and you're going to eat exactly what, you're told to eat at exactly when you're told to eat it, and you just blindly follow it and you lose weight. Those plans are great and they work, but this is not that. And that was a little bit challenging for me because I just wanted Alana to be like, eat this, Becca, and then eat that, and then eat that, and I was going to do it. And she was like, no, you're going to do the work to figure yourself out, and that's the gift. Like, that is the true gift of the program. There's not... This program is special because if you really commit to it and you do the work, then nobody can take that away from you. Once you figure yourself out, like, you take that into the rest of your life. And that's why people from the test group like me are saying this is life-changing. Like, this is transformative because it's not... 2B doesn't have an end date. So you don't come in and follow, what Kim and Jamie say for 30 days and then go back to your life, because that's the problem, right? We do these programs and then they finish and we haven't fixed the problem. And so we just go back to all our old habits and we undo all of our progress because we don't know how to live, outside of that and outside of the boundaries. And this teaches you how to live outside of all those other programs. Like, it's not a diet. It's literally just, I keep telling my coaches, I'm like, this is just your life now. Like, this is just going to be your life. Like, this is not a diet plan. Like, you're just going to be a bunny for life. Like, just, this is it. And so I actually kind of love that our test group started over Thanksgiving because I think it's such a testament to this program that the people in my test group were able to have the experience we did when we went over Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, travel, holidays, the Success Club trip. Like, I just got back from a week at an all-inclusive resort in Mexico and I lost a pound. Like, when does that ever happen in anybody's life? Ever. And all the people that were watching me, I got crazy messages because they were like, we can tell you're actually, like, enjoying yourself. Like, I took pictures of the pizza I had one night. I took pictures of the mudslide I had by the pool. But I also took pictures of the giant bottles of water that I was guzzling and the giant salad I had for lunch one day from the buffet. And just showing people, like, this program is not about deprivation. It's about figuring out what works for your body. And Alana gives you, like, these incredible frameworks that you work within. And then you figure out what's good for you and what you like and don't like. One of my favorite things is I have a lot of people that ask me, like, I'm really picky, or I have these food allergies, or, for example, Alana is not gluten-free. I, however, am gluten-free because I have Hashimoto's. And so, like, a lot of my followers see that I don't post bread or whatever, and they were asking me about it. And I was like, no, but that's a great example of how you make this your own. Like, I happen to not be able to eat it because I have an allergy. But, like, you're dairy-free, if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, if you're kosher, like, any of those things, whether it's allergy, medical, religious, like, you just make it work for you. She's not telling you specific things to eat. So if you're watching this and you're worried, like, I don't want to eat, like, quinoa and kale for, the rest of my life, you don't have to if you don't like those things. Like, you can pick things you like, and you'll try new things, and, like, people will give you suggestions, and Alana will give you recipes, so you won't be hurting for that. I feel like for the first time in my life, I am not on a diet, which is like a huge deal. I don't know if any women here in the group can resonate with that, but I know for guys it's not exactly the same, but I just feel like I can live my life and make choices that are in alignment with my goals. And, like, I have no shame about the food that I eat. I have no shame about when I step on the scale. I saw that question come in. I have no shame when I decide to indulge in something. Like, you guys have seen probably people say there's no cheats on 2B mindset. So like my birthday happened while I was in the test group, and I totally had ice cream on my birthday. But because I was following Alana's framework, it was an intentional choice. I did it without any shame, and it didn't turn into a crazy spiral like maybe in the past, because I was feeling restricted in the past, and I felt like, well, screw it. Now that I eat the ice cream, I might as well eat the cheesecake, and then I might as well have the leftovers for breakfast the next day because I already blew it last night. Like, there's none of that. So it really takes away a lot of that stuff. I know that that has a lot of people scared. I can say I was really skeptical about that because I have a very tumultuous relationship with scales. I was one of those people that are like, scales are for fish. Don't watch the scale. Like, don't even pay attention. In fact, I didn't. Like, most of the time, I only chronicled my progress in measurements and photos and how, like, my clothes fit, which I know a lot of people do, and that's not wrong either. But I was nervous about the scale and having to use the scale as a tracker because historically I had a lot of emotion tied up in it and a lot of my self-worth tied up in it. And I totally feel like I did a 180 in this area. And I think that you guys that are scared of the scale, it's actually going to be really refreshing because Alana's viewpoint on it is that you're just using it as a tool like anything else. And so if you're willing to come in with an open mind to that, I think that you'll find a lot of healing in this program because you take away the power from the scale, right? Like, we only don't like scales because they tell us things we don't want to hear. Like, if you got on the scale every day and it told you you were losing weight, you'd be like, I love scales. Scales are awesome. Like, we only don't like them because they say that we're gaining weight. That's the only reason. So why is that? Because we avoid them for really long amounts of time, and then we get on them. But with Alana, you're using it at much more regular intervals, so there's not surprises. Like, you're never going to be in 2B mindset if you're doing it the way Alana outlined and get on the scale and be like, how did I gain 8 pounds? Like, it's not possible. Right. You may be like, oh, I went up 0.2, but makes total sense because I had really salty food yesterday, or my period is going to start soon, or I did a really intense workout and my muscles are, like, maybe a little bit inflamed. You know, like, that might be what happens, but you're never going to have that shocking, scary moment when the scale tells you something you don't want to see, and that removes a ton of the power from it, like a ton. Because now you're in control of this tracking method instead of it, like, running your life, and you learn so much about yourself. Like, you start to see these trends, and that's why that tracker is included, because you start to learn, like, you know what, every time I go out to eat at that restaurant, I get really bloated the next day. And so then you can just make those decisions moving forward. Like, yeah, okay, I'm going to choose to go eat there because I love it. And just know that tomorrow I'm going to be a little bloated. That's okay. Just going to drink some extra water. Like, you learn these things. Or you learn, like, oh, when I drink an extra 50 ounces of water, my weight goes down. Like, I have weight loss week. So you'll learn these things, and then you can start to get better and better and better. And you learn what works for your body. That's the coolest part about 2B mindset. Coaches, she shared how it is not uncommon. In fact, it's actually very common for her test group participants to lose more weight in their second, third, and fourth months than they do in the very beginning. And that's because if you're doing the program right, there's a lot of figuring yourself out in that first month. There's a lot of trial and error. But then once you start to kind of, like, figure out what works for you, you get in your groove. And by the second and third month, a lot of us who were not working out in the beginning started to want to work out, and not only, like, want to work out, but we were doing workouts that, like, were not our normal go-tos. Like, people who usually hated cardio were like, I'm going to do, like, a really intense one. Because, like, once you start feeling better, you want to move. And that was something Alana said a lot is, like, your body wants to be healthy. So once you start giving it the things it needs, it's going to really start to shine. And instead of craving all these things that are actually not so good for you, it's going to start craving the things that are good for you. So we were craving getting outside. Like, we all kept talking about how much we wanted to just, like, get outside in the sunshine and go on walks. Like, Yeah, I have to be really careful about what I say because, we can't make any sort of medical claims. Like, I can't say, like, to be healed this or that. I can just tell you my experience. So, my
Yeah.
experience with Hashimoto's, which is also an autoimmune disease, is that I have always struggled to keep the symptoms up because it's just something you have. Like, you can't make it go away. So, you can just deal with the symptoms. And I don't take medication for it. I've been able to maintain just with lifestyle choices, but I always still had like some lingering symptoms, like fatigue and brain fog and like eczema and weight gain was one, or like struggles to lose weight, which is a lot of women with PCOS or autoimmune struggle to lose weight. And I followed to be as closely as possible. And over the last 4 months, all the lingering symptoms that I had have pretty much gone away. So I feel that my body is in the best place that it's been since before I was diagnosed.